Hello, so welcome to part 12. So part 12 we are at Pearl Code 64, the diamond. The Great Pyramid has always been an enigma among the surface world. Even the land it sits upon lures people from around the world. It stirs deep within them this ancient mystery, which reflects to them as an invisible mirror. Some can see this mirror, and from it arises a tale from their own storybook. Egypt is the beginning and the ending of a rise and fall in the consciousness of man. The physical pyramids you see standing today are not those of the original template. Whoa, that's interesting. Look deeper with the eyes of thy heart and see with the eye. As you look upon Pearl Code 64, you will see the top half creates a tetrahedron. This also is the shape of the capstone that resides in the ethers above every pyramid along your plane. The capstone spins and acts as a filter for the light entering the pyramid. The light is then evenly dispersed inside the pyramid and harnessed into the crystalline structures within. When one enters a pyramid, they can unlock and access these light codes through their light body. Every light body of a human houses certain biogeometric codes which hold a certain frequency. This frequency emits sound waves that interact with the pyramid as a key. Think of how when a person sings a note high enough, it can shatter a window. This is how it works. The note is high enough that it unlocks the barrier around the pyramid code. This opens a vortex of energy that goes from the person's light body to that specific code. Traveling through that vortex of light are the codes. These codes filter into the person's energy field, duplicate, then return. Sometimes the codes go directly into the DNA for an immediate activation, while some settle in the light body to then slowly twinkle through all energy bodies one layer at a time. This is how light codes always work, even those that filter from the sun. This is why some are affected several days after the solar waves have caressed the earth. The person receiving the pyramid codes most of the time was the very same soul that encoded it upon another node in time. How amazing is that, right? So you've recorded it at a node time, knowing this point would come when you would receive it and be able to activate it. Love it. What exciting times we live in, eh? They were able to tap into the aspect of themselves which resides upon this current node in time to then leave for themselves their very own treasure map. When the person enters the pyramid, they feel that sense of deja vu. That sense of familiarity surrounds them. These codes are to assist with activating their DNA. Pyramids. Every pyramid has a tetrahedron mirrored facing downward under the Earth's surface, creating a diamond rhombus. Hence the diamond codes. The Earth grid truly is as a rhombic tetrahedron. So is the universe, but in a stellar formation. It breathes, contracting and expanding, which opens portals and gateways, appearing as a diamond. The rhombus houses the famous golden ratio of 1.618, while the dihedral angle of the rhombic trichontahedron is 144 degrees. So I'm going to show you an illustration of it there. The pyramid as a tetrahedron connects with other tetrahedrons, forming what is known as the 64 grid tetrahedron. It merges with the flower of life, creating a vacuum of where time and space meet. The tetrahedron represents the concept of time, where the spheres are created when these two touch, representing space. The perfect way to understand space is by having a tetrahedron mirrored, which also creates a Merkaba. This is when you can create stillness, where you find that 0 point within which connects you to your family of light, your true oneness with all. I have to say, when I'm meditating, there's times when I just feel so much going on in my body, and there's times when I meditate when I feel so much, and all of a sudden you just go into this, because you hear so much, there's so much going in the stillness is noise, right? But at some point it just goes where all of a sudden it's just silence. It's just this clear, crystal clear field of this silence, but it's so tangible and it feels so amazing. I'm just going to show you that diagram there. So I wonder if you've experienced that too. Design description. The 64 tiny tetrahedrons used to create Pearl Code 64 on paper represent 64 codons in human DNA, 64 cells needed before your cells bifurcate, 64 ruins in the Mayan tablets of the law of time, 64 spheres around each tetrahedron of the 64 grid creates the flower of life in 3D. 64 is a vibrational code in Yahweh. I'm just going to show you that because I'm probably saying that wrong. YHWH. 64 keys to earn before the higher and lower hearts merge, causing the dove, Holy Shekinah, to fly into the universal sun gateway. Encoded in this, you see 32 steps above and below, the 32 steps of ascending, where at step 33, initiation is engaged, causing the holy honey to drip from the pineal gland. In the center portal is the violet flame heart above and the blue flame heart below. This represents transformation and Christ consciousness, all encoded by 12 steps. The number 12 is also for, and interesting, right, we're very 12, 12, 12 in this chapter. We're on part 12. The 12 beings of the higher council of light, the 12 guardians of light who guard the portal from this universe to the mother universe from which it was birthed. 12 representing the 4 merging of the higher energy centers into the lower 8 energy centers when the soul star gateway opens. The 12 aspects needed to merge in order to ascend into thy higher self. You are all Pearl Code 64, housing within you all these exact sequences. You are walking pyramidal saltwater superconductors, walking with your very own capstone of creation, collecting and storing energy in the magnetic field around you. It is time to allow this electric current, just like the ancient pyramids did, to flow through you. Simply look at your fingerprints. Do you not see coils? Do you not feel the current flow from them when you do any kind of energy work? Your fingers are a physical expression of conductors. You are the very capstone returned when you ignite and allow the pillar of light to shine down into your very own pyramid crystal. Your scientists have found graphene, and then it says honeycomb shape, from when electrical currents flow without resistance. The very golden pollen dust of the Ra energy is all around you. Breathe it into your field. Allow it to create holy honey inside of you, feeding directly from your pineal gland down your spine and into every cell. Then work like the bees you are for the Queen, Divine Mother Ark of all creation, spreading the pollen, collecting the pollen for the highest good of the divine. You are the bees of the mighty beehive. Beautiful. Little diagram there. No more suffering, children of the one almighty flame. The lion calls to you now, for the gates are open. Hear the rattle, summon you now, for it's time to shed the skin. Look upon the eyes of the universal peacock angel. See who you are. Next chapter, the Solarians. The 7th-day expression of Earth is Nahare. This is where Earth and Venus are as one. The beings of Nahare are known here as the Solarians. These beings are very illuminated because they came to this solar system from the sun, just like all higher aspects of planetary bodies are. They are overlit by the pearl crystals light and appear in the lower planes with sparkling plasma bodies. During the end of the Hyperborean stage, when Earth was becoming divided into a lower form, these beings would appear having either diamond or pearl-like glowing forms. Once the 5D timelines had become infiltrated, we descended into this plane to conceive and create the 12 sun tribes. We used what is known as light conception. Through a sacred ceremony, the female and male would connect to Source and to the soul of the child to be. As one essence, they merged their light to inject as a Christ seed into her womb. Light conception can be done only if the woman is pure and has all energy centers aligned with her pillar of crystal's light surrounds her. Where her pillar of crystal's light surrounds her. The DNA passed to the incarnated child is that of the mother incarnate and of the solar DNA of the child's soul spark. The father is always of the same monad soul group, meaning they house the same DNA vibration. DNA is multidimensional. An entire monad can house up to 1 million soul sparks, creating soul family groupings. From each of these sparks, up to 12 lower sparks can be formed to express themselves within the material planes. Interesting, right? So from each of those million soul sparks, then from each one, that can create then 12. With this said, each of you have a total of 12 aspects to integrate first, to then ascend into your higher self, giving you a total of 13. Metatron's cube houses the center sun sphere, which from it 12 spheres are birthed. This applies to all of creation, 12 planets from each sun and 12 aspects from each higher self. The 6 outwardly expressed energy centers needed to align before the crown can be anointed. The 12 energy centers held within the diamond-like pillar needed to merge before the 13th gateway. The pearl sun can open. Once this opens, it pulls all the 12 outwardly expressions of itself in by a magnetic-like force. Those seen in ancient art with the solar disc crown and the cross represents those of the 12 sun tribes. Some of the Ka-Unas are known as Christ figures or sun deities because they house the solar codes, the cosmic pearl teachings. The cross signifies the opening in the sky like a sundog, while the solar disc signifies the sun, altogether meaning they came directly from the pearl gates of the sun. They have all their 12 aspects merged into their own white sun body. The pearl, known as the morning star Venus, the very white pearl Earth's body came from. Meaning we came from Venus signifies we came from the sun body of Earth herself, the morning white pearl. We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your heart. And that's Peter 1.19 King James volume. I'm just going to show you this illustration. Held within the DNA of these lineages are the 144 Pearler codes, solar codes, as well as laced in the 13 sun discs of Earth. Pearl is the name of the sun temple city, which can be accessed inside of the atoma of every planetary body. In legends, this is known as Shambhala, the shining city within the earth. Perla is where the Greek word paralion stems from, which is the plural form of a sun dog. This is from the ancient pearl teachings taught by the Ka Unus. The symbol of the 12 sun tribes is the solar cross because it directly connects to the pearl gates one enters when going into Perla. Like a string of pearls, all the 144 universal suns are connected by a diamond-like string. These solar pearl codes were coded in the DNA of the 12 sun tribes to assist with mending the divine blueprint of Earth. It just shows, doesn't it? This is one of the messages that is definitely coming through in this book. And what I teach to my clients is that every single person matters. We all matter. What you do matters. What you say matters. It matters. It impacts the whole. We have so much more power to really change reality into something that is, is a nutritious for all of us, gives nourishment to all, then we are programmed to believe, it does matter what we do. It does matter that we work on ourselves, that we continue to expand and grow. The Solarian souls volunteered to incarnate in the infiltrated 5D plane to help merge all planetary bodies of this system back into their solar pearl aspect. We taught our descendants in the tribes how to access these codes within to then teach them. They were able to travel with us through all the planes of this system and into Perla to learn of the mysteries. Being able to travel through all the planes caused them to live in the same vessel for long periods of time yet appear youthful. We would travel to other planets teaching of the Pearl codes, teaching of the crystals light within and without, showing all species how to access the light of the sun within in order to feed the cells of the mortal body, how to connect with the sun externally in the sky, as well as the sun at the core of each planet, to stream the diamond dust into their bodies. Since we were able to move outside of the earth lower planes, we were symbolized as a bird, meaning we belong to the sky. Those of the solar tribes wore sandals made of pure gold, only found near the atoma of Earth. This type of gold held the vibration of the atoma, which is directly connected to the atoma of the local sun, helping to keep the wearer grounded to the vibrations of the pearl sun codes. The sandals strapped around the ankles, displaying the solar cross symbol with a sacred fire pearl in the center. This was a magical pearl, and when placed on the energy centers of the ankle, it helped with the flow of these codes within the energetic fields of the body. On the sole of the sandal were stones of sacred minerals like lithium. The ancient Greeks called these sandals ambrosia, meaning immortal gold. Ambrosia cryosea, it says, meaning immortal gold. This later became labelled talari, winged sandals. This is also where the term tala for the leg chakras came from. Priests and priestesses who taught the pearl codes in the sacred mystery schools wore these sandals. These sacred items were gifted by the high priest or high priestess upon the completion of the initiations. Birthing of the solar tribes. The expansion of your consciousness is based on the environment it is provided, meaning the environment within you as well as the environment without of you. Everything is energy. Everything is a conscious being. When a material form is created, it is of the very materials found within that planetary body. The embryo from the very start has an energetic field around it which pulls into it what is found without of it. One of the sacred temples was that of the pearl itself. This temple was shaped like a pearl and built within sacred crystalline materials. The mothers-to-be would reside in these temples for the duration of their pregnancy. Those of the priesthood would sing and play certain vibrations attuned to that of the soul spark to incarnate. The rooms were decorated with flowers, oils, crystals, and artwork, all attuned to a certain vibration. This was a time when the mother was so connected to all of creation and to the soul spark, who would soon use the form inside of her to express themselves. The tribes had a council which consisted of leaders from each tribe, led by a high priest and high priestess. Before a child was conceived, they would assemble to discuss what type of soul essence is needed. Once the child-to-be was selected, they would select a mother and a father from the tribes. Then they would select a timing of the light conception to take place based on the cosmic alignment, which were a vibrational match for the soul spark incarnate to be. During the time of conception, there was a sacred temple used, which was created in a beehive-like crystalline structure. Around the structure were wings of water, housing water that flowed directly from the nearby ocean. Dolphins and merpeople would be present during this time to surround the temple with loving vibrations. Inside the temple was a giant crystal which levitated from the open dome ceiling into the area where the light conception ceremony took place. From this very source crystal, the soul spark would send a portion of its light into the womb of the woman. The sacred ceremony between the divine masculine and the divine feminine expression is called the Hieros Gamos, sacred marriage. In the ceremony, the two would connect directly to their pearl light stream, creating a plasmic light pillar from their monad. This pillar would surround them both, grounding directly to source light to assist with the pull of the child soul spark. The two were entangled via their energetic bodies, not just the physical, like performed upon your plane today. As guided by source, the soul spark of the child-to-be would send its light down the source crystal. This would be the same time both the male and female would exhale sacred vibrational tones. Afterwards, select priestesses would come in and perform a sacred ceremony using sounds and light energy. They would perform this ceremony on the energetic bodies of the mother-to-be by placing proper symbols of light to assist in the formation of the body of the baby. There are 3 acts of marriage which all of the man species perform within this galactic sector. Within each act are 3 stage types which match the vibrational level the couple is attuned. Currently, those upon your plane are at stage 1 and 2 on a level 1 marriage. There are very few who are acting at stage 3, which is above a 5D vibrational connection level. 3 is Hieros Gamos. Only the Solarian Melchizedek lineage have been able to reach this level at stage 1. This stage is where light conception is reached, creating the solar egg, or what is known as the golden egg. When the birthing is performed, it is done in the water surrounded by our kindred of the waters. Dolphins would work with the mother and the high priestesses who led the ceremony. Sacred music was played to help ease the soul sparks, birthing as well as sacred objects around the mother. The entire tribe the child would become part of would be the parents. For the Sun tribe saw all of the community as one and treated all the same, with pure love and honour. The father knew of his sacred duties with the conception, while the mother knew of her sacred duties as well. Because all 12 tribes carried the same solar DNA, the child was placed in a tribe where the vibration was most needed. Example was if a tribal member no longer desired to be in the human form, it would exit from the body. Or if a tribe moved in a geographic area that needed to increase in vibration, since the members of the tribes carried the divine DNA matching that of the planet, they went where was needed the most for the planet overall. When it came to mating, some members of the tribe wanted a mate for the duration of that life, where others may have had a few or none. It all depended on what that Pacific soul spark needed to help with its own expansion. The priests and priestesses would move about the planet where teachings were most needed. Typically, the priests and priestesses would not have mates. In all other root races, they did take on mates. Their focus of energy was solely on their divinely duties, because this was the start of the seeding of these tribes, as well as an important time node of the universe. An imbalance was occurring in the heaven realms between the archangels. The priests and priestesses were aware of the potential timeline to come. I'm just going to show you that little grid there. Rather than read all that out, you can pause it and read it yourself if you want to. These are the vibrational names of the 12 sunborn surface tribes. Those who descended from the Araray tribe later became known as the Celtics. Interesting. I'm definitely starting to discover a connection in my lineage to the Celtics, and I'm going to Ireland to do some work there. So that's coming in strong for me at the moment, and some of these Celtic tribes. This is interesting. The land they reside upon was called Ara. Part of that land is Ireland today. It is from this tribe, and this is the tribe that's been coming up in some of the training that I'm doing. The Tura D were created as the hybrid creations of part fairy and part Solarian. And also someone left me a comment about the blue avians, and the lady that left me a comment, it was from Ireland as well. And I knew there that I was being asked to look at that. And when I started, I've only very briefly looked, but I've seen the connection to this tribe as well. Obviously a lot more to unfold there. This tribe would travel from this timeline to the organic one of Nahare. The original high kings of Ariland were the Grail kings. They mated with those from the Ariray El tribe, together forming the Holy Grail, which would pour over the land these solar pearl codes. This was the seeding of the Magi priest kings, who later became known as Druid priests. Held within their bloodline is that which flows directly from Archangel Ariel. Later became known as the tribe of Judah, with the lion of God as their logo. Those of the Zanata and the Maza'u tribe became known as the Berbers, who reside in North Africa. Most who stem from these tribes reside in Morocco, Algeria, and France today. The legends of the Amazons stem from these tribes. This contributed to why the history of Berbers originally were called Amazi. The earliest tribes in ancient Egypt were of these tribes, for they were directly seeded from Lord of Venus Zanet. The famous Zenita stone near the Montagny di Les Flores is connected to the Zanata tribe. The tribe today is known as the Zenita. Interesting. And the famous Gunsha statues are true to the forms of this sacred tribe. So I'm going to leave it there for today. I thought that was a very interesting chapter that I'm going to reread, and particularly interesting for me right now, like I said, with the island stuff coming up and this tribe and the blue avians and this Celtic connection. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and I will see you on the next one.